Hi all, I'm Noy, and today I'm going to talk to you about Fred Astaire and Gene Kelly, two of Hollywood's most famous dancers. I thought of this pair specifically because people tend to place them in the same category of dancers who contributed to the golden age of musicals. And while they did contribute to the formation of modern movie musicals tremendously, you'd be surprised to hear that one of them didn't actually contribute to the golden age at all. Who might that be? Stay tuned and you'll see. But wait! Before I start my little discussion, make sure to like this video and tell me what your favorite musical is in the comments. I'll leave mine there too. Now that we've got that over with, let's dive in. Fred Astaire arrived in Hollywood in one of my favorite era for cinema, the pre-code era. Around this time, studios were still adjusting to making talkies and were looking for a bunch of fresh talent. Because cinema was so young, there still wasn't any censorship rule or movie rating, like PG, PG-13, etc., leaving a whole lot of room for experimentation. Unfortunately, the Hays Code was implemented shortly after Fred's arrival in 1934. So filmmakers had limits with how raunchy their content could get, which was not at all. Another thing that's important to note is that musicals were all over the place. Audiences didn't like what they were seeing on screen because the plots were overused, and musicals didn't have that traditional musical formatting, like the song, dialogue formatting yet. That's where Fred and the lovely Ginger Rogers came in. See, up until then, musicals only used popular songs. They didn't have songs written to further the movie's plot because it just seemed strange to start singing in the middle of a conversation. So songs were oddly placed in between dialogue, or all the numbers were moved to the end, like in 1933's 42nd Street. With the help of songwriters like Irving Berlin, Jerome Kern, and the Gershwins, the modern movie musical was formed in the mid-30s, with movies like The Gay Divorcee, Top Hat, Shall We Dance, and more. Now on to Gene. He entered Hollywood just as the golden age was starting in the early 40s. Studios already got the format down and they knew what audiences liked, so they just churned out musicals every chance they got. During this time in beautiful old Hollywood, Gene Kelly starred alongside Judy Garland, Rita Hayworth, and more performers in multiple leading roles. Current event-wise, the US had just joined the Second World War. Many artists went to entertain the troops across the nation, like Judy Garland, Bob Hope, Lena Horne, and many more. While Gene Kelly was still under contract at MGM, he did leave in 1944 to serve in the U.S. Naval Service for 2 years. He was stationed at the photographic section in D.C., where he helped write and direct documentaries. This fueled his interest in the production side of filmmaking. He was discharged in 1946 and continued making movies for MGM afterwards, like Singing in the Rain and The Pirate. Fred Astaire had a very traditional approach to tap dancing. Whenever he danced on screen, he always wore formal attire, mostly known for his top hat, white tie, and tails, if you know, you know. His movements were very elegant and well choreographed and pretty much reflected the times he danced in. Even when he wasn't dancing with Ginger Rogers, he was always interacting with something. For example, in Easter Parade, 1948, when he drummed a little bit, and in Royal Wedding, when he danced with a hat rack like it was a woman. He still managed to make an object feel human through his subtle steps and hand gestures. His overall approach to tap dancing is truly enchanting and makes his movies even more timeless than they already are. Gene Kelly's dancing, on the other hand, was very theatrical, very expressive. He always wore different outfits when dancing, and he was sort of silly too, not to mention he had a lot more creative freedom. I've already said this, but everything pretty much came easier for Gene in the terms of musical formatting. No trial and error there, but making a good and memorable musical took and still takes a lot of work. In the years after he was discharged from the army, he choreographed one of the longest ballets in film history, the last 17 minutes of An American in Paris. He co-directed, choreographed, and starred in 3 different musicals, one of which is widely regarded as the greatest of all time, Singing in the Rain. He was so involved in his projects that you feel how much heart and soul he put into them when you watch them. Even when he's not physically in said project, like Hello Dolly, which he only directed. It's because of this passion and love for his craft that he's one of the greatest contributors to the Golden Age. All in all, there's really no way to compare and contrast Gene and Fred based on their dancing skills or any other skills like directing, choreographing, etc. because they're both completely different. I've seen articles saying that Gene is better or that Fred is better, but the truth is they can't really be better than one another if they develop these skills at a different time. Fred Astaire could have directed a musicals if studios knew it wouldn't be risky. Gene Kelly could have been as classy and elegant as Fred if he were born 2 decades earlier, but hey, that's just natural selection at that point. Bottom line is, they're both incredible dancers, and their contributions to the film industry are underappreciated and overlooked. Anyways, if you like my video, be sure to like it and subscribe and share my content. Bye!